What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. This time we're taking a look at The Fighter, directed by David O. Russell, starring Mark Wahlberg, Christian Bale, and Amy Adams. The Fighter tells the story of professional boxer Mickey Ward and his former and his half brother, former professional boxer Dickie Eklund. Okay, so I'm gonna waste no time. I'm gonna get right into this. I overall think that The Fighter is a good sports movie. I'm not a huge fan of boxing, but I think that The Fighter is actually pretty good. I'm not familiar with the sport at all. I don't know any of the competitors except for like Mike Tyson and like a couple of the big ones. But I digress. As a movie, I think that Fighter is a pretty good sports drama and a pretty good biopic on Mickey Ward and his brother Dickie Eklund. Uh, to me, the strongest part of this movie really are the performances of Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale. I think Mark Wahlberg as Mickey Ward did a great job at it. Did a great job in the movie. He looked good in the boxing ring, and he looked good carrying his scenes with Christian Bale, who played Dickie Eklund. Now, to me, the real star of this movie was indeed Christian Bale. Christian Bale, he's one of those actors that when you see him in a movie, you know you're gonna get 110%, and The Fighter is no different. Christian Bale, he steals the show as Dickie Eklund. He is phenomenal. From a production and a directorial standpoint, I think David O. Russell created a really gritty, natural atmosphere with this movie. This movie is not dark and gloomy, but it has a sense of realism to it, which I can appreciate. And the cinematography really shows. It really shows because this movie it takes place in Lowell, Massachusetts, a very small town, and it has everyday people where everybody knows your name pretty much. And David O. Russell captured that small town atmosphere really well. I like it a lot. From a story standpoint, it's a strong story, though I don't think this movie's story is as good or as strong as, let's say, the Warrior or the Wrestler. I would say that the Fighter did things better than the Wrestler, in terms that, like I said, this movie is not dark and gloomy and depressing as the Wrestler. This movie, it actually has more of a uplifting message, so to speak. And a lot of these characters, they do get their redemption. Dickie Eklund, he's a crackhead pretty much. He gets his redemption at the end of the movie. Of course, he has to do 8 months in prison after getting caught, but he learns redemption. Mickey Ward, he becomes a very good, accomplished boxer once he breaks away from his domineering family, particularly his mother, played by Vanessa Leo, who's basically his manager. And Leo, she puts in a great performance. I like it a lot. And like I said before, Amy Adams, who plays Charlene, the love interest, I thought she was fine in the movie as well. I think Adams and Wahlberg have a really good on-screen chemistry with one another. I like the feuding dynamics. I like how the family is against Charlene because they think that Charlene is manipulating Mickey, while all the while Charlene thinks the exact same thing to Mickey's family. So it's constantly putting these two separate factions at war with one another, with Mickey pretty much caught in the middle of it. And at the end of the movie, Mickey just pretty much just says "F this," and eventually the family becomes united as one, and that's where Mickey goes on to take on the Neary O'Shea and wins the welterweight championship down in London. And I will have to say that now a lot of the boxing scenes in this movie, they are really well shot, but most of them, they're just done through fast-paced editing. The best directed boxing scene in this whole movie, for me, is the fight with O'Shea. I think it has just that right amount of suspense to it and that right amount of realism to it, and it's just great. And the performances in that scene are fantastic. You really get that. It's really a gripping, edge of your seat type of end climactic fight, and it does have, and it does have a very good ending with Mickey Ward coming out on top. So I like all that stuff. I thought that stuff was really good. Uh, some criticisms I have of the movie, like I said, I think a majority of the boxing scenes in this movie, they kind of get rushed pretty quickly, and this movie is not really about the boxing aspect of it, which is fine. If that's the backdrop of it. This movie is more or less a family drama, and for the most part, it's paid by numbers. It is. It's nothing really all that spectacular or all that special, but it's well done. It's well written. It's well directed. And that's pretty much all I got to say when it comes to the story of The Fighter. it really is a kind of like paint by numbers sports drama type of story, and it's really held together by David O. Russell and by his cast. If this movie did not have the cast and David O. Russell, this movie would not be as good as it actually is. So, pretty much with all that said and done, I'm gonna give The Fighter a solid 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed this movie. I like it a lot. So anyway, those are my quick thoughts on The Fighter. Let me know yours in the comment sections down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.